lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get
He missed the pit complete. That is crazy
As I
stuff.
said, Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through, he tags Richard Eck.
They hail from around the globe, and though separated by oceans, they gather in the virtual world to battle, to compete, to race. Whether they're former champions looking to regain the title, new and eager hopefuls driving for glory, or legends in their own time preparing to dominate, they're all here for one reason alone: to win. Today we'll find out whose name will be forever etched into the record books. You're watching the GreenValleyLake.com MX-5 World Tour.
Welcome to the second round of the 7th season of the MX-5 World Tour, sponsored by GreenValleyLake.com. We are broadcasting live on the Global Sim Racing channel. I'm Richard Losper, and with me in the booth is Mr. Smooth himself, Joe Peak. Hello, Joe.
Hey, Richard, I'm looking forward to this race. This place always puts on a good show.
Yeah, me too. Also in the booth for this season is GreenValleyLake.com league organizer Bill Zahn. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Richard.
And of course, our director of proceedings is none other than Giancarlo Lenzi. That's Giancarlo Lenzi. Joe, this is the Silverstone southern version of the circuit. Give the viewers a little bit of information about it.
Yeah, it's a much shorter version than Silverstone's more popular Grand Prix version. It's only 1.9 miles, just under 2 miles long, and just over 3 kilometers long. So it's a pretty short track, only 10 turns to go around. So they're going to be running 33 laps, quite a few laps around here. But despite all that simplicity, it's actually incredibly tricky. I mean, it's got a couple of chicanes in there and some very fast corners. It's going to be very easy for drivers to get caught out and get some slowdown penalties. And then on top of it, it's just got a pretty ridiculous pit entry that's also going to give some people penalties if they're not practicing.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you there, Joe. I've done some laps earlier on today on this track, and it is quite tricky, let me say. But who am I to talk about it? Well, let's have a guide from somebody who did a hot lap for us, and we'll get our director to show that lap to the viewers. So, Giancarlo, if you would like to cue that up for us, that'll be great.
All right, Ayrton Ellis is going to take us on a lap around Silverstone South. Now, this is going to be a little unusual because we're going to start on the final corner here. We're coming up to Stowe, which is turn 10. There's a little bit of braking, sort of a passing zone, but it's still a very fast corner. You want to get to the inside. The car is going to drift to the outside as there's a little bit of a crest. Don't get too far out or the grass will send you to the inside. Coming to the start-finish line. This hard braking, this is going to be a passing zone into this left. Now the trick here as you come through club is you really want to get on the gas as soon as you can, because this is a bit of a straightaway here and you could be vulnerable, although it's going to be a tricky passing zone. You'll see what I mean. Coming down straight into turn 4, you're going to brake at this little access road on the left, and then these curbs are very large, so you don't want to hit them too much because you can unsettle the car. You see a lot of guys do that. You see Ayrton took quite a bit of them, but he was brave there. Coming down this straightaway, this is the part that's going to catch a lot of people out. There's going to be a bit of a kinked braking zone into the right here, and then you got a chicane coming up this right, left, right. It's going to be very easy to cut the course. You want to carry as much speed as you can into Beckett's. You want to get on the brakes, bring it around this right-hander, and then that will dump you onto Chapel, which dumps you onto the back straightaway of Hanger Straight. Long straightaway. As I said, you might get a chance with the draft to make a pass at the end here. Now, this is one of the most unusual pit entries. This is why we started you early. It's going to be this little access road on the left. You'll see Ayrton dive through the pavement right there. And now you got this big open space. You still want to try and hold on to the car. It's going to be a little bumpy. In fact, very bumpy. And you got to spot these two little cones in the middle of nowhere, and that dumps you into the pit lane. This is really going to separate the men from the boys, as you'll see. And it's definitely going to be an interesting one. It's an unusual course, a lot of chicanes, a lot of very strange parts of the track, but should be enjoyable.
And that was a lap around the Silverstone Southern Circuit done by our own Ayrton Ellis in the GSRC Mazda. Now, Bill, tell us a little bit about what the drivers are talking about on the forums regarding this race and what's happening in the season so far.
Well, the big topic for the track was the pit entry, which is a bear to get into, and I think you probably saw that on the lap guide as Ayrton got you in there pretty smoothly, but that doesn't always the way it happens in real life. And what is also, I'd like to introduce the viewers to a couple new drivers in here. There's going to start in the third row, and that's Evan Maillard and Jan Koemans. Now, Jan Koemans is a three-time champion, and he missed last race, so this will be the first time that the viewers will get to see the wonder, the beauty, the splendor that is Jan Koemans on the track. But also, starting next to him is Evan Maillard. Now, Evan Maillard is the fastest qualifier today, but both Koemans and Maillard are starting in the third row because there's a gimmick that drivers are re-grid so that based on their inverse order of how they're doing so far in the series. And since both Koemans and Maillard weren't here last week, they're starting in the third row behind Thomas Zabo, who's on the pole today. So it should be very interesting, Richard. I think we're going to have a good race. It's going to be interesting to see those guys work up from the third row. And if they're patient, it should be good. And also, there's a 16-mile-an-hour wind, and there's a lot of fog here today, but the visibility is good except from the blimp. So I think we're going to have a good show.
Absolutely. Look, the drivers that you mentioned, there are so many great drivers in the series, but the drivers that you mentioned, Koemans and Maillard, they certainly are something special, as is João Freitas and some of the other guys as well. So we are certainly going to be in for a good race, without a doubt. Now, Joe, perhaps you want to take us through some of the key things that are going to happen in this race. And it's brought to us by our great sponsor, Cozy Cabins.
Yes, exactly. And folks, if you're looking for a great vacation, why not try Cozy Cabins? Situated high in the San Bernardino Mountains in Southern California at Green Valley Lake, your stay will be a memorable one. Check them out at www.cozycabinsgreenvalleylake.com. Definitely recommend that place. But yeah, as far as the keys to the race go, I think one of the big things is going to be keeping your nose clean. These chicanes are very easy to get a cut course on, and it's the guys that are going to be able to keep it on the track and pointed forward that are really going to start to move ahead. The other thing is traffic. This is such a short course, and there's a fair number of cars here, so the leaders are going to run into traffic very quickly, and the ones that deal with it the best are the ones that, again, are going to start moving up the order. And then finally, that darn pit entry that we keep mentioning, if you haven't practiced it, you are going to be at a disadvantage. You're going to be at risk of getting a cut course penalty if you take it wrong. So that is definitely going to be the final key to the race here, that you've got to make sure you get right if you want to win.
Absolutely, Joe, and well put there, because certainly I've seen and been watching some of the guys go into the pits, and it is extremely tricky. But before we start, as I see that the practice session is just finishing up, I want to get your guys' thoughts on how this race might finish up today. We'll start with you, Bill. What do you think? Who will come away with this one?
I like Evan Maillard. He was the fastest qualifier. Look for him to, if he can keep out of trouble, look for him to take the victory.
Excellent stuff. How about you, Joe?
I think despite Koemans not taking the win last season, I feel like this being his first race and missing out on the championship, he's going to be hungry. He's going to try and start it out on the right foot. My vote goes to Koemans.
Okay, and just to be different, I am going to put my money on Mr. Richard Eklund. I think after the last race, he's pretty hungry to make this one a good one. But there's certainly some stiff competition. We see them gridding up now, guys, so we will be watching the lights to see when they go out. Perhaps at this point in time, we should quickly run through the grid. Joe, do you want to take us through the first few?
Absolutely. On pole is Szabo with the quick 6 regrid. Yaman. Oh, I'm sorry, we got the green flag.
Go ahead, Joe. Call the start.
Yeah, the green flag is out. They're taking off. Who is that up at the front? That's Szabo, actually, who is leading them away cleanly. It looks like he held on to it. Amjad Yaman was able to hold on to second as well. Richard Eklund is trying to sneak inside of, who is that on the outside? It looks like João Freitas there. Or I'm sorry, no, that was Jan Koemans, actually, who's moved himself up into third place. So already Jan Koemans on the move.
Yes, excellent stuff from these drivers at the moment. But Tomas Szabo leading them off, Yaman in second place. So a really good start. Bill, what have you seen from some of the back markers in the start?
You know, I could be wrong, but I think I saw Sergio Mora jump the start. We're going to have to watch to see if he has to go to the pit lane this first time through for a black flag.
Yes, I think you're right. I also did see him start prematurely, so he could well get a black flag. But at the moment, he's still there and racing. He's in about 6th place at the moment, so we'll see what happens there. But good start so far. Any battles that you might be noticing at this point, Joe?
Yeah, right now I'm watching Richard Eklund, who's got João Freitas very close behind him. In fact, they've got Sergio Mora very close as well. So these three are for 4th, 5th, and 6th. And João's backed off just a little bit, but he was given a look on the inside of Eklund for a while. Now he's got Mora really breathing down his neck. These guys are all pretty close together. In fact, it looks like even Tumas Hallinen is getting the mix along with Timo Tuliainen. So really, honestly, we've got quite a train all the way down to 8th place.
And you know what, Joe? I shouldn't say this, but it does surprise me a little bit that we have Amjad Yaman and Tomas Szabo ahead of some of the more fancy drivers like Jan Koemans, but they did start from 6th place. I'm not seeing Maillard anywhere here. Has anybody seen where Maillard is?
I haven't seen him. However, I did see that Richard Eklund was trying to put a move for 2nd place on Amjad Yaman, but Yaman held him out coming into the chicane. They're coming on the hanger straight now, and there's a big draft here, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Richard took another look.
Yeah, Richard Eklund is doing a great job, but Tomas Szabo well out in front at this point in time. Let's cross to Bill to see if there's any action that he's been seeing in the mid-pack.
I've been looking for some of the drivers that are missing. I haven't seen Maillard in the race, and I didn't see Sergio Mora go into the pits. I'm going to follow up on that, Rich.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's another move being made. Richard Eklund is really hounding Amjad Yaman for that 2nd place, and he wasn't able to make it once again, but he's trying moves all over. He doesn't want to lose contact with Szabo, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm noticing that as well. For a moment, he had me a little puzzled because obviously he's changed the colors of his car. It's now blue, but he does have the name Eklund on it, so he's certainly on the move there, Joe. It looks to me like he'll be challenging Jan Koemans up ahead of him for that 3rd place very soon.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had called that wrong. It was Koemans who was trying to make a move on Yaman there for a bit that I was watching. I, too, was trying to get used to these different paint schemes. But yeah, those Koemans definitely has Eklund close behind him. Also, a quick note, I see that Ben Tucker had a major spin a little bit ago on lap 2, so Ben Tucker was set back quite a bit.
That's unfortunate, but we will see a lot of that happening in this race. Hopefully not too much because we want to see a good race, but certainly this top 4 at the moment. Tomas Szabo doing a great job in staying out in front. Amjad Yaman, a terrific job to stay ahead of Jan Koemans and Richard Eklund. Richard Eklund now goes to the outside trying to make a move on Koemans. Does he manage to get it done? No, he does not. Jan Koemans responds and keeps him out, and Jan Koemans hangs on to that 3rd place, Joe.
I tell you what, that is a very difficult spot to try and get by. But now, because of his bad exit, Eklund is really susceptible to João Freitas, who tries to take a look on the inside of this next chicane. And it looks like he's not quite close enough to make it happen. But once again, another bad exit from Eklund as he really squirms around, and João Freitas absolutely makes a spot happen on the inside there and pushes Eklund out. He's going to have the inside into this next corner, Richard.
Fantastic racing by all of these drivers. Yes, by Richard Eklund trying to defend the position that he had there. He actually made a bobble, and that gave João Freitas the opportunity. João Freitas now moves up into 4th place. They're both a little ways behind the 2 or the 3 in front, I should say, which is Jan Koemans. Amjad Yaman continuing to surprise me. He's really doing a great job here. And Tomas Szabo leading the pack in this race. So a great job from these guys. Bill, anything from yourself?
Yeah, let's go back and look at 8th place at Thomas Hallinan. Oh, I don't know if we got there or not. Thomas Hallinan is running in 8th. There's a battle going on between him and is Timo Tuliainen in the Eagle's Nest Tavern car. And just ahead of him in 5th place, it's Richard Eklund, and that takes us back up to João Freitas in 4th. Those guys are been going at it tooth and nail back there, and going off in the grass just before you came to me was Sergio Mora, who's now running probably about 9th.
That's a pity. Sergio Mora, he's come back on track, just got the camera on him at that point in time, and he's just disappeared off my screen. So it looks to me like he may have got a disconnection there, and that is most unfortunate. Not a good day for Sergio at all there, Joe.
No, and that's always your worst nightmare is a disconnect, especially when you're running pretty high in the order. At least it was early on in the race, because it's so crushing to just make it very far in and to have your internet run out, to know that you did all that work and it was for something out of your control. I tell you what, who I'm looking at is Trevor Mack in 9th at the moment, and actually he's going to get bumped up since Sergio Mora had a disco. He's kind of sitting by himself. If all those guys all in a line start battling, Trevor could really benefit when the pit stops come to maybe jump them if he continues to run by himself right here.
Yeah, because, being by yourself means that you can run your own pace without having to worry about having to defend or attack someone in front of you. So great job by him. Love that paint scheme with the Big Mac sign on the back of the car as well. So far, the race has been quite clean, I would say. We've got Tomas Szabo still hanging on to that 1st place with Amjad Yaman still in 2nd place. And Joe, it looks like they are actually getting away from Jan Koemans.
Excuse me, yeah. Yeah, it seems like he has pretty decent pace here. Although we've seen Jan Koemans race incredibly smart in the past. I'm wondering if he knows it's not worth, with all these cars around, to try and fight and just kind of hold position, wait for a mistake, or maybe for pit stops.
Yeah, Jan Koemans is the master. There's no doubt about it. The most wins in this particular series, more than triple the amount of anyone else. So certainly you can never discount him in any race that he is in. And currently he's sitting in a quite handy 3rd place. So we will not be discounting him. We'll be watching him very, very carefully. So back to you, Bill. What are you seeing at this point in time?
Well, surprisingly, far back in the field is Yuri Yanis, who's running in 13th spot. He's in that red, white, and yellow Chicago Blackhawks car. He's being closely pursued by Kim Vitar, a new driver, but he's put some distance between Vitar in 13th. We look a little bit farther back. A newcomer is Craig McKenzie in 15th, and right behind him is Duljan Boldrin in 15th right now. Duljan Boldrin is currently leading the Clean Driver Award. He had a very clean race last week. Back to you, Rich.
Yes, and just behind Duljan Boldrin, we actually have Simon Van Duyn. He was doing pretty well in the first race. A bit surprising to see him this far back, Bill.
Yeah, and right behind him is Jonathan Kerr. Now, Jonathan's the only Roadster loyalist. For you guys who aren't familiar with the Roadster, it's the only right-hand drive car where he's sitting on the wrong side. Of course, for him in England, he's sitting on the correct side. And oops, he's about to be passed now. Coming up, who is that behind him? It looks like Benjamin Lanowitz is going to take over about 18th spot there from Jonathan. And there's behind him now in the Ferrari-colored car is Joseph Aro. He holds a record for the most races entered in the Blondie series. Back to you, Rich.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, let's go back to the front and see what's happening there, Joe.
Well, the big news is that Richard Eklund had a slowdown in one of the chicanes, and right now he's currently got Tuomas Hallinen challenging him. That's for 7th and 8th. So Richard has definitely slipped down the order. But he seems to be struggling a bit because he could have possibly made some chances to move up, but didn't quite take them, although that could just be him once again playing patient. We've seen a lot of these drivers start to employ that tactic. Oh, we've got another slowdown. It looks like Jan Koemans actually had to give it up, and now he's under threat from Timo Tuliainen. Tuliainen's got the run, and he's going to blow by on the Hanger Straight.
Yes, and easily done, of course. When somebody gets a slowdown, they have to slow down, and that that gives somebody coming up behind, if they're close enough, a chance to get by. Looking up further forward in front of Tuliainen, Jan Freitas still having a hard time catching up to Amjad Yemen and Tamar Szabo leading the race, Joe.
Yeah, and I've been kind of keeping an eye on Amjad and Thomas, and it seems like Amjad is playing very smart here, and we're used to that from him. That's how he gets his nickname, the Doctor. He just plays his races out so strategically and surgically, and right now he's just holding on the back of the Szabo. I'm not sure if it's because of the draft that he doesn't have the pace, or if he's actually waiting for an opportunity. But whatever the case, he's not fighting too hard here, and it's really kept him in touch. And this is a lot higher than we've seen him race lately. So this is a very good race for Yaman. I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps this up, if he has a podium.
Well, he certainly is right on the pace. There's no doubt about it. We saw that in the first race as well. He raced very, very well in that first race. A little bit surprising to me that Jan Freitas is not further up, but this may just not be one of his favorite tracks. Timo Tuliainen doing a great job, but he's got a little work to do to catch up to these top three. So we'll see how that all pans out. As we see just back behind them, Eklund and Koeman still battling it out, Joe.
Yeah, I was just watching that and was getting ready to break in. These two guys are old foes after their back and forth battle for the championship last season. And it looks like Eklund wants on the inside. There's contact. That spins Koemans around. Koemans is set back, and this allows Tuomas Hallinen to start to get up on the inside of Eklund, and Tuomas moves up 2 spots in 2 corners.
Now that was really unfortunate. That was a very tricky corner to attempt that move on, and so unsurprisingly, Joe, it didn't come off. They couldn't both get through that corner. That corner is extremely tight, and probably better for Eklund to have waited there.
Yeah, it was always going to be touch and go for him to try and attempt that. Although you could say that Jan maybe could have given him a little bit more space, because he would have had the inside on the very next corner. It's kind of one of those things where you have to figure out, do I fight hard and try to hold the position, or do I live to fight another day, sort of thing.
Yeah, but I'm here to tell you, having driven this course quite a number of laps, that particular corner is very, very tight, and you really have to cut right into the inside of that of the entry there. The apex is critical to making the next corner work. So they were both trying for exactly the same place, and it didn't work. However, the good news is that Koemans is still going. He's down a little bit, but he's not out of it. So he's racing, and that's a good sign. Bill, over to you. What's happening back there?
Well, let's go back to 8th spot and Trevor Mack in the Big Mac McDonald's car, the red, white, and yellow car. He's been pretty much running by himself in 7th place now, but right behind him is Jan Koemans, who just is recovering from that spin. Now, I know Koemans. Look for him to pit early, to get out of traffic, run some hot laps while the guys are up front are racing, and watch for him after the pits are all done as he goes around Trevor Mack right now to be back at the front after the pit stop strategy. Let's go back a little farther. In 9th place is Stefan Overgaard, And then back, running by himself safely, is Yuri Yanis in 10th. That's a little farther back than we're used to from him. 11th is Arthur Chan, and then back in 12th in the he's running the Cape Cod potato chip car today, is Tom Rathie. Back to you.
Okay, Tom Rathie, a little surprising as well that he's that far back. Arthur Chan, Joe and I know Arthur Chan so well. Arthur Chan is running a good race today, Joe.
Yeah, he's looking at a possible top 10 here if he can keep it together and maybe get his strategy right, and also just hold off while some of these other guys up front keep making mistakes. Right now, he's got Tom Rathie right behind him, kind of just holding station at the moment. But these two could maybe just be working together. They know that they're a little far back, and it's better for them to just run their pace rather than try to duke it out at this point.
Well, that's right. And, you know, the thing is, Jan Koemans is probably in the same position now. He hasn't got any traffic around him, so he can really start to put on some hot laps. And sometimes that's not a bad thing when you run by yourself. You stay out of trouble and you can sort of get into a groove. And this is a difficult track to maintain a groove on, so good on these guys. They're doing a pretty good job. So back to the front now, where we still see Tamar Szabo. Up ahead of him, there is a lap car, Joe. So this might make things a bit more interesting for the guys behind Tamar.
Yeah, but I'm actually watching João Freitas, who's putting a move on Amjad Yaman coming on the inside of the final corner here. It just gives him enough room, and he can't quite pull it off. I think that João Freitas has had enough of just holding in the back in third, and he's ready to try and cling on to the back of Szabo and maybe make a move up.
Yeah, absolutely. I just caught that the tail end of that maneuver, and certainly he's starting to push now. He's right on the back of Amjad Yaman, and these guys are not that far behind Tamar Szabo. So we still have that lap car as we see João Freitas going to the inside through the chicane. Amjad Yaman maintains the inside for the second part of the chicane and holds on to the position just. So, and right behind Freitas now, who do we have there? Timo Tuliainen on the outside as they come around that sweeping bend. And who is going to, yes, they all get through safely, thank goodness for that. I really did think something might happen there, Joe.
Yeah, it was obvious that someone would have to give, and I have to say that Timo really made a good decision in that Cozy Cabins car to just, you know, he gave it a good run, but he didn't quite have the speed to get all the way past. And it's too early in the race to try something risky like too wide through there.
Yeah, no, absolutely not a good place to try and make. Well, I gotta say, there's not a lot of good places to pass here. There isn't a long period before you get to a you know, a long corner, and probably where they are right now, Joe, down the Hangar Straight section that they're going to. And we have a spin. Who was that, Joe?
That was João Freitas, and boy, he I tell you what, Steve Tingle was not making friends right there. He was a lapped car, and João was trying to get by, and Steve did not lift to let them go, because that was a battle for what I believe was third or fourth at that point. So unfortunately, lap traffic not behaving how you'd hope.
Well, I thought with that lap traffic coming up that we might have a problem. Thankfully, João Freitas has got going again in the Cozy Cabins car, and he's coming back up to Tingle right now. So we'll see what happens this time. Will Tingle let him by, as he should do? Being a lapped car, he is well and truly lapped, as we see Freitas coming straight up behind him. They're going into that big curve, no problem there, thankfully. And Freitas continues on with his race.
Yeah, coming onto the Hangar Straight, he's very well clear now. And Steve's finally starting to let people through. You know, because of that, because João moving back, I'm looking back up towards the front. And this moves Timo Tuliainen into the third, but up into fourth, Richard Eklund. So after his early problems with all those cut course penalties and whatnot, he's worked himself back up into a possible podium position, maybe even the race win, because he's got the pace to catch these guys. He's been reeling them in.
Absolutely, and we did just see, just in front of Eklund, Timo Tuliainen have a bobble. So that's going to give Eklund an opportunity, and he goes clean by, no problem there. Timo Tuliainen doesn't provide any argument at that point in the race, so Now we have Richard Eklund, sorry, moving up into third place. However, Joe, the first and second place still have a healthy lead on third place, which is now Eklund. These guys are doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, and Yaman is still holding station right behind Zabo. I think it's looking like they're probably going to be doing either a late pit or a mid-race pit here, because it's long past the chance to try and do an early one. And I'm very curious to see how Amjad is going to do here, because I'm wondering if he's lifting a little bit on the straights, maybe saving just a little bit of gas and be able to cut just that little bit of time. Zabo goes defensive into the final corner, but then comes back to the line. So it's obvious that Zabo feels threatened, whatever Amjad's intentions are.
Well, I have to say, Amjad Yaman, I'm taking my hat off to Amjad at this point in time. He's running an absolutely great race, as is Tamar Zabo. I mean, leading a race in this quality of a field is no mean feat, but certainly Amjad's taken it to him. At this stage, we'll just stay with this for a little while because it looks like Amjad is challenging Joe, so we'll stay with this for a little bit.
Yeah, I'd really like to see what exactly he attempts here, because this is the closest we've seen him in a long time, just really right up on that bumper, barely a car length between them, coming towards this chicane. This one is definitely not a passing zone, and it looks like, I'm not sure if Amjad was looking for a way around or what there, but he moved to the side. He's really not going to find a way past unless you're really desperate here. It takes a lot of that inside curb. They've both got to be careful not to get a cut course through there.
Yeah. Tamar Zabo very comfortable in leading this race at the moment, but certainly Amjad Yaman just running beautifully behind him there, so kudos to these guys. Richard Eklund, though, it seems to me, is making up a little time on these two guys now, Joe.
Yeah, and he's actually pulling Timo Tuliainen along with him. I think Timo giving up so quickly was definitely a smart move there. He knew that Richard had more pace.
Back to the front, Joe. Back to the front. Back to the front. There's a challenge on.
Yes, I just see that now, and Amjad was trying to make a move onto the inside of that final quarter. Didn't quite have the kudos to make it through there, but he's still holding on. Those two didn't lose too much time, although with them battling now, this is going to allow Eklund and Tuliainen to really close the gap, and we could see a four-way battle for the lead.
Yes, absolutely, and the gap has visibly closed. As you see now, Eklund virtually as half the gap. He does have a big bubble there, but he's half the gap previously to Amjad Yaman, because these two battling that hard, in any racing scenario, you'll have that problem. I think we'll just leave these two guys for a moment and just check in with Bill. Bill, what are you seeing?
As predicted by yours truly, Jan Koemans made the early pit stop. Now, these guys up front have to think of this as like yacht racing. Koemans is in the back. He's tacked. The lead yacht has got to tack. These cars up front have got to come in now, make the pit. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves in trouble if they let Koemans have some clean track to catch up to him.
All right, and we've just seen one of the front runners, Timo Tuliainen, making his pit stop. So he now will be in the pits, and we have Tuomas Halonen taking over from him. So going forward at the moment with the three guys that are in first, second, and third, which is Zabo, Yaman, and Eklund, they have not taken the opportunity to pit on that lap, Joe. So they coming up to lap traffic. This could be either an advantage or a problem.
Yeah, and that's Anthony Celentano and Ben Tucker, who are fighting very hard right in front of them. They're probably not going to want to exactly pull over too quickly for these guys, because they don't want to give an opportunity to each other for that position. And this could be the opportunity that Yaman needs to maybe sneak one up the inside when Zabo's distracted with the lap traffic.
Absolutely. I recall a broadcast we did at, I think it was Okayama, where we had completely discounted Jan Koemans from the race, and when we finally woke up, he was leading.
Yeah, we got to keep half an eye on Koemans no matter what we do. I'm still watching this battle up front, and it's been very tight. And as we said, here comes Eklund. Oh, and we've got a bunch of cars off into the pits here. Both Szabo and Celentano and Yaman made the pass coming into the pits. Now they're side by side down to the pit limiter speed. Yaman is still slightly ahead. They got to be careful not to speed here, but they both are going to be right on the limit.
They're speeding at 40 kilometers an hour or 40 miles an hour, whatever it is. But the interesting thing is, Joe, that Richard Eklund did not go into the pits at that stage. So that will put him in the lead at this point in time. So he might pit on the next lap or two. So strategy in play here.
I'm watching to see what these guys do. It looks like no tires for either of them. Amjad still getting his fuel. Same thing with Szabo. That was incredibly smart from Amjad. Just saw an opportunity going into the pits. I don't think Szabo was even expecting to watch that, but it's all for naught because Szabo is out well ahead of Yaman. Yaman is still in. What is going on here? He is having an incredibly long pit. In fact, he's losing positions to other people as well as Jan Koemans jumps in. And Yaman is still in the pits. Something went way wrong. He had damage or something. I'm not exactly sure what happened there.
Yeah, it's absolutely, Joe. He, I think I'm seeing in the chat here, he's laughing, saying too fast going in. So he might have had a penalty for speeding in the pits. That's the only explanation I can think of, Joe.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I wondered about that because I knew both of them were going to be fighting incredibly hard to get every little inch out of that battle there. And I guess Yaman just pushed it too hard. We're still waiting for Eklund to come into his pits, but he has inherited the lead, and Tuomas Hallinen is behind him in second with João Freitas in third at the moment. So things are getting shaken up, but once again, pit strategy is proving crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that, everything is topsy-turvy at the moment, let's check in on some of the drivers that we may not have shown a little bit too much so far. So let's have a look at what Jan Koemans is up to at this point in time. So Jan Koemans sitting now back in about 8th place with all these pit stops. He is in and around traffic, but not involved in any battles at this point.
Oh, I'm sorry to break in. We have a new development. Timo Tulianen just blew his engine when downshifting for the second chicane. He is out of this race.
Oh, absolutely. I just saw him come to a complete standstill, and in fact, he's taken the tow, so he is definitely out of this race at this point in time. Bill, what are you seeing at this point? It's all a little bit crazy at the moment.
Freitas is coming into the pits right now. That's too bad for Tulianen because I think he had a good pit stop. I think he had put himself in pretty good position right behind Szabo to have a good finish. That's going to hurt him not only in this race, but in the point standings for the whole season. So we'll keep an eye on Freitas here and see if he comes out ahead of Koemans, who he was battling with early in the race.
Yes, and he just comes to a stop now as we speak. Some other guys in front of him leaving the pits at this point in time. I want to have a look at what happened to Amjad. So Amjad now, according to my screen, Joe, is way down in 11th place.
And yeah, I'm sorry, but Richard Eklund just exited from his pit stop, and he is in the lead with Thomas Szabo behind him. In fact, Szabo has João Freitas all over him. So Richard has a clear space in front of him and could run away with this.
Yes, I am watching this exact scene at the moment. Tomas Szabo, there's a car in front of Tomas, which is Ben Tucker, but that would be a lapped car because he's showing way down the screen. So it looks like it's Eklund and Szabo at the moment, Joe.
And meanwhile, you know how we always talk about you can't discount Jan Koemans. He is back up into 5th, and he is right with Freitas, right on the back of him. So we've got Koemans, Szabo, and Freitas for 5th, 4th, and 3rd. They're all very close together, and we all know Koemans usually has the pace on guys, so I wouldn't be surprised with pit stops over. Now's the time you're going to see attack.
Well, that's right. Now they, sorry, I'm getting some information. Joe, did you hear that?
Yeah, I believe we're going to go on board with Kumans and see what it looks like inside his car. So let's take a look at that. And oh, he just gets into the back of, who is that? Ben Tucker, I think it is, actually. I'm not sure if there was contact made there, but there's Stefan Overgaard going off track next to them, but he's at least kept contact. I'm not sure what the stewards are going to have to say about that later on, but at least he has stayed in touch with the Alfredis and Tomas Szabo now.
Yeah, that was a fairly light tap, so I didn't think there was much in that. Freitas and Szabo, this is going to be really interesting. There is an enormous battle going on here, and watching from behind the two of them is, of course, Jan Koeman. So this is a very, very interesting development at the moment here, Joe.
And we're getting word that, yeah, actually we did call that earlier, Overgaard through the grass earlier on. I will note that Tuomas Hallinen seems to have not taken his pit stop yet, if I'm seeing things right. So he had a fair big lead last time by the line, but he'll need to stop soon because it's lap 22, and it's getting towards the end of the pit window here.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of that, Joe, where some people stay out as long as they can and just take a splash of fuel and hope they can, you know, get through to the end without taking any tires. So it's a strategy that some people do employ. Let's see if it works out for Thomas. But at the moment, I don't know whether that's the right strategy at this stage.
Actually, I'm sorry, I called it wrong. It looks like Tuomas has stopped, and he's currently holding second. And that is within line of everybody else because we're getting word that everybody has stopped at this point. So it looks like the order from first to fifth is Eklund, Hallinen, Freitas, Szabo, and Koemans. And that is all on strategy.
Okay. Well, that is well, let's go to this battle here with Szabo and Freitas and Koemans because that's where the heat is at the moment. These guys are furiously attacking each other at this point in time, but it seems like Freitas has got the better of Szabo at this point, Joe.
Yeah, he's able to pull away, but I'm wondering if that's because Szabo's pretty distracted with a very heated Koemans right behind him. In fact, look at how quickly he closes up under braking into Chapel there, and Koemans goes just a little wide, but now there's a big bobble from Szabo, and that means Koemans can cruise on by on Hager Straight.
Yeah, Szabo was definitely in trouble right there and couldn't hold the car virtually on the track and had to probably hit the brakes a little to keep it properly aligned. And Koemans just blew by. So Koemans now goes into third place with Eklund still in first.
I believe
Koemans
it's fourth.
Fourth place.
All right, well, I believe we have another portion coming up with Bill Zahn's Eagle's Nest 60 seconds.
All right, go ahead, Bill.
Thank you, Joe and Richard. Okay, it's a new feature, guys. It's the 60-second back marker salute brought to you by Eagle's Nest Tavern at Green Valley Lake. We're going to start in the back with number 42, Steve Tingle. This is his second race in the series. He's driving that kind of yellow and black car. He's about to be overtaken there by a lead lap car. Steve is been in iRacing for a few months and is a lead singer for his band Short Fuse. Let's go up one more position. We're going to go up to number 46. That's Joseph Ario. Joseph is from Italy. He's in the pits right now. He's a lap down. He's had set the record, as I said earlier in the race, for the most events raced in, and also had a 60 consecutive race streak at one time. Let's go up one more spot as I have 30 seconds left. Let's go up to in the 22nd position, number 777, Lucky Anthony Celentano. He's new to the series. I don't know much about Anthony. I did a little research. He's very athletic, and from what I understand, he was an alternate for his country's synchronized swimming team in the last Olympics. We'll go up one more to number 21 in the 14th car, Stefan Overgaard. As I have 6 seconds left, Stefan, a GS Global Sim Racing Channel announcer, and that's all we have right now. I got through 4 cars. I'm going to go back up to the front.
Thank you, Bill. We will most certainly appreciate the time that we've given some of these drivers. Going back to the front, Joe, what is happening?
Well, it's not quite synchronized swimming, but it's almost there because these guys are just pretty much holding line right now. Eklund has got his lead pretty much sewed up at this point. He's got 6.5 seconds. All he needs to do is watch out for traffic and keep it pointed forward with a few laps to go. We're on lap 25 right now. Tuomas Hallinen behind him, holding station, but he's got 2 seconds back to João Freitas, so he can't make mistakes. Jan Koemans doesn't quite seem to have the pace that he normally does. He's holding on to fourth, but he's not reeling in João as quickly as we anticipated.
Okay, but he is up there in fourth place, which is great. And behind him, Szabo, who was leading this race for quite some time. Szabo is now in fifth place. So, Joe, he's blown a chance, I believe. He had a good lead.
Yeah, I really feel like Koeman's troubles came from that touch with Freitas early on, and I'm sure that he's not going to have the best of words to say to Freitas because that was so early in the race for something like that to happen, and that just set him back, and his strategy was all screwed up after that.
Yeah, it's a pity. But look, fourth place, nothing to scoff at. And Tomasz Szabo should be proud of his race. He led these great drivers for quite some time. And Joe, Trevor Mack, sixth place.
Yeah, excellent. Although I'm looking that we had some word that someone had a huge hit. I'm trying to get more information and discern it.
All right, while we're looking for that, let's go back to Bill. Bill, what are you seeing towards the rear of the field?
Well, I'm looking at number 18. We haven't talked about him. It's Jim Boland. He's car number 05 in the 18th position as he goes off in the gravel as I speak. I'm sorry, Jim, for drawing attention to you, buddy. Next time I'll just leave you off the screen and you'll do much better. Let me go back up to the front, guys.
It's George Fike. I'm getting information that George Fike has had an accident, and I'm looking at his car right now. Bill, he looks pretty secondhand.
Yeah, it's too bad. George likes to be consistent. He likes just to put in, he shoots for maybe a low, just outside the top 10 is what he's aiming for. He doesn't like to cause trouble. That's too bad for him.
All right. Okay, well, let's see what's happening back up the front then. Over to you, Joe.
Well, I'm kind of watching João Freitas because it seems like he's closing in on Hallinen bit by bit. This time it's about a second between them, but it's not quite close enough. So let's hop back and see if we can find something of a closer battle because it looks like there's not really much up front here. In fact, I'm really not seeing anybody close. So we probably should go back to Bill and see if we can find a good battle halfway through the field.
Joe,
okay.
These guys are just keeping their distance. They're just, I'm going through the field. There's really not a close battle going on. That's so unusual. Let's go ahead and look at, if I can get Giancarlo to come with me. Let's look at, it's number 2 spot is Thomas.
Yeah, it looks like Tuomas and João have now really closed up. So João definitely has had the pace. He's turned the afterburners on, Richard, and this is for second and third.
Yes, I am with you there. João Freitas has definitely turned on something because he's caught right up to the back of Tuomas Hallinen and is challenging, and that is for second place. First place, Richard Eklund is just, at this point, Joe, he's certainly got it sewn up as there's only a couple of laps left.
Yeah, I'd say all he has to do is keep his cool here. And, this is interesting because he won here last year. In fact, it was his first GVL win, actually. So maybe something special about this track is kind of got Richard, he's got in his back pocket.
Yeah, no, he's done a great job. He was a little way back in the early part of the race, but he's certainly done very well towards the end of it. Meanwhile, behind him, Joe, Tuomas Hallinen has responded, and João Freitas has dropped off just a little bit now.
Yeah, it looks like Tuomas kind of saw the proof in the mirrors and decided time for him to get on the gas too. I don't think João is going to get up. He is a fighter. That's one thing we've learned. He really just pushes hard, and he knows how to take that car to its limits. So, and Tuomas is a very cool character, so I'm pretty eager to see how this plays out between these two guys.
Yeah, it will be a great finish for Tuomas Hallinen. He is a fantastic driver. Guys, I would just want to check in with you on Amjad Yaman. What's happened to Amjad, who was running in such a great second place early on?
Well, it looks like right now he's kind of all by himself in 8th place. He's got Jer Janis a bit of ways up, and then Tom Rachi is well back. So he at least has 8 sold up as long as he keeps it on the track, unless Jer Janis makes a mistake or something along the way. And with these chicanes, as we've seen, it's easy to do that.
Yeah, well, it's a great pity that because Amjad really ran a fantastic race. Well, Bill, let us go back and see what is happening further down. Any great battles, good battles, average battles, any battles?
Well, they're keeping their distance, but maybe we'll take a quick look through the field. Let's have Giancarlo come back. Let's look at Trevor Mack in the 6th spot, car number 57. He's running a safe race. Behind him is Yuri Yanis in 7th place. And then we talked about Amjad Yaman running in 8th. Let's go back one more here to the next position. We go all the way back to Tom Rathie is several lap cars behind, is running in 9th. Let's hang in there one more time. We'll go back. We haven't talked much about Julian Boldern. He's got a top 10 finish in that kind of orange and silver car today. So I think it's this is unusual for the Blondie Series. Usually there's battles throughout the field, but they're behaving. They're just putting in the miles and bringing it home.
Well, you know, just for a second, put the cameras on Jim Boland. After you cursed him and he spun out, he's had all kinds of problems with that car, and he's just spun the car once again. So his race has certainly taken a turn for the worse. Poor old Jim. Let's hope he has a better one next time, because he's certainly fallen right down into 20th place right now. Well, Joe, what is happening up the front? Has there been any action from João Freitas?
Actually, it's looking like we might get something here, because Hallinan just had a bad exit onto the hangar straight. In fact, yes, João Freitas is making him stay to the inside. In fact, he's going to squeeze him all the way to the grass. Who's going to give? They're coming up to that final corner here. It looks like Freitas has the momentum if he can just hold on to it. Yeah, he just snuck by now, and that is for 2nd place. I don't think Hallinan's going to give up easy, but yeah, in fact, he's going to take another look as they come towards that cursed first chicane here. Who's going to give in? And Hallinan just manages to sneak through. They get oh so close, but it looks like Freitas gave him just enough room. Good driving from both of these guys, and awesome stuff from Hallinan to lose a spot and then take it back in the very next corner.
Fantastic driving. I think he may... No, I thought for a second there, Joe, he may have got a slowdown, but that's not the case. And he certainly gets a great exit out of that particular corner and shoots away. And now Freitas has got it all to do again to catch up with him.
Yeah, and that just goes to show that you have to be strategic with where you make your passes, because he lost so much time out of there, and it's running out. We're on lap 31. He's only going to get a few more chances to try to make something happen. I think at this point he's got to try and work on a mistake from Hallinan, because he's not going to be able to close soon enough.
Well, they are coming up to some lap traffic, and we know what these lap traffic cars can do to a race. Not because they're doing anything wrong or anything, it's just that they're in the way of these faster drivers, and these faster drivers have to be very careful onto how they pass them. Yes, you did mention, Joe, it's lap number 31. That means 2 laps left to go, and we should keep an eye on Richard Eklund to make sure we catch him crossing the line for the win, if indeed he does win. But this battle at the moment for 2nd place is definitely hot, and we should stay with that, I believe.
Well, let's jump back just a little bit, because we've got another really good one between Koumans and Szabo for 4th and 5th, and Koumans is definitely going to want to start this season on the right foot, like I said. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be eager to try and get past him with only a lap and a half to go still.
Yes, indeed. But at the moment, Szabo is a little ways ahead of him. So with these 2 battles, and we are talking about 4th place and 2nd place. So there's a podium spot up for grabs if somebody can do it right. And at the moment, Koumans is right on the back of Tomasz Szabo. Tomasz Szabo has come along in leaps and bounds. It wasn't even 6 months ago when Tomasz was just an average driver. And look at him now, mixing it with one of the greatest drivers in an MX-5 in Jan Koumans. So a great job by all these drivers, Joe.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot, that the Green Valley Lake series just absolutely sharpens a person's skills and teaches you how to deal with traffic and fighting close and being clean. You see guys come in and just throw it away when they're very fast, and as time goes on, they get better and better. Meanwhile, João Freitas is right on top of the bumper of Tumas Hallen, and that's for second place. We got to keep half an eye on Richard Ecklund because he's close to finishing this thing up, but right now it's a side-by-side battle between Hallen and Freitas into the chicane, and Freitas has to back off. There goes that chance. It looks like he might get one more into that final corner.
They are on the last lap at the moment. Richard Ecklund most certainly is going to win this race now. I don't think, Joe, that anyone can catch him, but I will leave you to call the second place because this battle is not over.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to keep my eye on Richard Ecklund, and actually he is coming up to the final corner here, so he is going to wrap this race up. It looks like he has, like you said, nobody around him, not even traffic, all by himself, coming towards the start-finish line, really starting off the season with some awesome runs and making up for a mistake 1 week ago at Indianapolis by taking the win here at Silverstone. In the meantime, that battle between Tumas Hallonen and João Freitas is still going on. Freitas wasn't quite close enough, and Hallonen has got it with less than a second at the line.
Absolutely great driving from these guys. Absolutely great driving. So as we see everyone else start to finish their race, we might go to that break and come back and give you the full standings for the race, guys. Welcome back, folks, to the greenvalleylake.com. We've just witnessed a great race, the second race of this season. After we went to the break, apparently there was still some action going on behind from some of the drivers behind. But it was certainly a really, really good race. And we want to take you through the final standings as they finish across the line. So, Joe, if you want to grab the first few.
Absolutely. Richard Eklund with his second win in the Green Valley Lake Series and at the same track, no doubt. So great stuff from him. Tumas Hallinan came home in second. João Freitas took third. Tomas Szabo in fourth. Then Jan Koemans in fifth. Trevor Mack in sixth. Amjad Yaman took home seventh. Jer Janis finished in eighth. Tom Ratchie in ninth. And then Duljan Boldrin rounded out the top 10.
Yeah, fantastic finish from some of these guys. Bill, you want to grab the next 10?
Simon Van Doon starts off the next 10 in 11th place. Benjamin Lanouette in 12th. That's a good finish for Benjamin. Arthur Chan in 13th. Probably not going to be happy with that. Newcomer Craig McKenzie in 14th. Not a bad start. From South Africa, the youngster Heinrich Lorenz in 15th. Probably not what he wanted. Kim Vitar in 16th. Stefan Overgaard. That's got to be a disappointment for Stefan. In 17th, Jonathan Kerr, the Roadster Loyalist. In 18th, Ben Tucker in 19th. And Jim Boland was able to salvage a 20th spot.
And in 21st place, Anthony Celentano. Steve Tingle behind him in 22nd place. Joseph Aero, 23rd. George Fike, 8 laps down. Timo Tulianin, disappointing for him. Sergio Mura, very disappointing for him. And last but not least, Kevin Stallings. So that's the standings in the race for you. We are going to do some interviews right now. And who do we have in the booth ready to talk to us? I noticed that we do have Richard Eklund there. We have João Freitas is there. Jan Koemans is there. So how about, Joe, we have a chat to Richard Eklund, who won the race first. And you can certainly have a chat to him.
Absolutely. Richard, well, you got your first win in the series in your second season. It was the second race of that one, and now you've got your second win on the second race of this season. So is the number 2 special to you or something?
No, I have no connection with the number 2, but maybe with the track.
Yeah, it's absolutely at the same track once again. You seem to do well here while others faltered. What exactly did you do that really allowed you to get ahead where others were, tripping over themselves?
I'm not sure. I think from the first time I drove this track, I liked it a lot. In season 5, I was challenging on for the win, but it was like my second or third race in the series, so I messed up my pit strategy, so I couldn't challenge for the win then. Then last year I learned from my mistakes and made up for it and won. And this time again, but the beginning of the race was sort of frustrating, but after the pits it was all smooth sailing.
Yeah, and it looked like you were having some decent battles early on. You were kind of caught up with a fair bit of traffic. Were you trying to play it patient with so many cars around you?
Yeah, I after spinning myself and Oki out last race, I decided just to take it easy for the first few laps this race. And the guys, I was taking it easy myself, but the guys I was around were driving, I don't want to say they're driving slower, but they were braking so much earlier than I was used to, so it caught me off guard in a bunch of places. So I got passed by Yao and Jan pretty early. And then Jan braked earlier than I was expecting again later on, and so I had to sort of dive bomb to try to miss him, but unfortunately I hit him again and spun him around. That was definitely my fault.
We'll have to see what the stewards think of that one, unfortunately. But congratulations on another win.
Thank you.
Well, Richard, I believe we also have João Freitas. Would you like to have a chat with the third place finisher?
Certainly would. Love talking to João. We'll bring him into the booth right now. João, another good race from yourself. How did you see it today?
Yeah, Richard, it was a good race, but I think I could have come home with a win today. But unfortunately, I had an incident with a back marker, so it wasn't possible. Third place was a good result.
Yeah, we saw that happening, and that was a little unfortunate. Certainly a tough track to race on. Very short, lots of traffic to deal with.
Yeah, I think traffic was a big factor today. Yeah.
Okay, you sound a little disappointed. I wouldn't be too disappointed. You're on the podium, and there's still 12 or 13 races to go. So don't worry too much about it. Plenty of time for you to take home some wins there, Joe.
Yeah, of course, Richard. Thank you.
All right, Joe. It sounds like you're not too happy today. Thank you for talking to us, my friend.
Thank you, Richard. See you next time.
Okay. We're struggling with Jan Koeman's name today. We will have Jan Koeman's with Bill Zahn.
Jan, you got me?
Yeah, Bill, I'm here.
Well, all the members of the Jan Koeman's fan club are hoping that you're going to tell us that your car was damaged in the little contact, and that's why you had so much trouble today. How was the car?
I think the car was fine, actually, Bill. No, the car was all right.
Then you got beat, my friend, because we were kept waiting for you to make your move. And do you think, I know that you're hungry, I know that you want to do well. Do you think, though, after so many series, it's hard to put in the dedication to continue to be successful?
Partially, maybe, yeah. I'm not sure. The thing is, it just the timing was a little off a little. I really had no time to prepare at all, and then I had some network issues. But the main problem today really was I wasn't going to beat Richard, but I think it would have been second or third if I had put enough fuel into the car. The thing is, my iSpeed says gallons, and I was expecting gallons in my car until I got into it, and it turned out to say liters. So I had to guess, and I guessed it a little bit short. So I was coasting into braking zones from way back and shifting early, and then I still ran out of fuel exactly in the last corner. So it was a bit of a nightmare.
You know, with so many Europeans, we should probably move this series over to the metric system. But are you planning to come back next week? And are you going to have time to prepare, or are you taking your girlfriend out to some movies?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I'll try and drive during the week, but it's fortunately it's the one track which I know pretty well. So I just need to get a feeling for the car, honestly, because I haven't driven it since the Blondie series finished. So I was just a little. The car was doing stuff I wasn't expecting it to do, so I wasn't really in tune. If I can sort that out, then I think Laguna will go fine.
That's right. Laguna Seca is that's your cup of tea. Well, Jan, better luck next week. Congratulations on a 5th place finish. That's not Koeman standards, but it'll get you started.
Thanks, Bill. See you next week.
Well,
you,
folks,
Rich.
I think that wraps up our interviews for today. Unless there's someone else, Joe, do we need to talk to someone else?
Yeah, I believe Amjad Yam was waiting to be interviewed, especially with his good run early on. So why don't we bring him in here and see if he has some stuff to say?
Okay, great. You go ahead and talk to Amjad then.
All right. Amjad, it was looking so promising early on. You and Zabo were just holding station and pushing the pace. And then that melee into the pits happened. What did you expect as soon as you got past the cones that you'd get a penalty, or what happened there?
Yeah, pretty much. On that pit stop, we're all coming up the lap traffic, so I was thinking maybe I could jump Sabo in the pits, but then all of us came in the pits, including the lap cone. That just chaos ensued. I missed my braking point, and I knew right away there was going to be a penalty.
I have to admit, I was incredibly impressed with your opportunistic move actually into the pit lane to try and get by Zabo. Did you mean to do that, or was that just something that kind of happened because of the traffic?
It kind of happened. I mean, I was content with sticking behind Zabo until the very end, but yeah, not disappointing myself for screwing that one up.
Well, we were sad to see that that battle kind of peter out after your penalty, and we were kind of watching and waiting for you to get out, and it seemed like you never came. But commiserations, and we hope to see you again next week.
Thank you.
Back to you, Richard.
Okay, well, if our director will allow us, we do have Stefan Overgaard ready for interview. I'd like to have a quick few words with Stefan, if that's okay with you, director. Stefan, Richard Losper here. Stefan, disappointing race by your standards, my friend. Stefan, can you hear us? It seems Stefan is not replying. Well, I'll give it one more chance. Stefan, can you hear us? No, I'm afraid Stefan is not there at the moment. Well, folks, you just witnessed another great race in the greenvalleylake.com series, a brilliant series, one that always gives up some fantastic racing. So it's time for us to finish up. And of course, we wish to thank a number of people and organizations for bringing this race to you. We thank Cozy Cabins, the Eagle Nest Tavern, and the Welcome Inn Bed and Breakfast for their sponsorships in the series. We appreciate those sponsorships greatly. For more information about Green Valley Lake, the best kept secret in California's San Bernardino Mountains, please visit www.green-valley-lake.com. We also thank Bill Zahn for his never-ending work in organizing this league and all the races. Brilliant job there, Bill. Furthermore, we wish to thank iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio Technica, and Ava Media for providing the software and the hardware we use for all these broadcasts. Thank you also to Joe, Bill, and Giancarlo, the GSR team today. And we wish us to give out a special thanks also to Brian Corwin, who is with us in training, so to speak, for his broadcast license. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, our website is www.globalsimracingchannel.com. There you will find our broadcast schedule, along with archived races and race highlights. We're also on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel, and we're on Twitter at GSR Channel. Special thank you must go to Eric Ekholm, who provides us with some brilliant music. You can find it not only here on GSRC, but in TV commercials, movie trailers, iTunes, and Spotify. If you like the music, tell Eric where you heard it at ericekholm.com. Thanks also to Casey Lalonde, who provides us with the music for our highlight videos. You can find more of his music at caseylalonde.bandcamp.com. Now, the next race in the series will be at Mazda Laguna Seca on the 25th of January at the very same time, 1900 UTC. Our next broadcast will be tomorrow. It will be the gathering of the Tweakers RUF race at Road America. Very special event. So try and be there for that one. Until then, race hard, race safely, and we will see you on the track.